be your authority brand, your content, and your engagement. And the goal is for you guys to walk away positioning yourself on LinkedIn as that expert. And it's the way that we're going to position you as that expert is going to be through that content that we're going to plan together. So when you hear about a brand, the first thing that everybody thinks about is the identity of a brand, you know, your colors, your fonts, your design. We're not talking about that today. That's actually the least of my concerns when it comes to business because there's so much more to the brand package than your colors, fonts, and design. Although those are important and great and definitely clean them up, fix them up, and have some have a great look. But your brand story and your unique value proposition is so important. So when it comes to any brand standing out, it's because they're known for something. You think about the big brands and the names, you know them because Nike does sports, right? So you're able to correlate a name with either a story behind it or a unique value proposition. Also, your brand voice. When it comes to, I don't know if you all have heard this term, brand voice. It was new to me about 4 or 5 years ago when I started to really do the research on how do I clean up my brand. And your brand voice is really the personality of your brand. Your brand is going to have a personality, believe it or not. So what does that look like? Are you coming out as a strong educator that, I used to always say, like, I really don't want to be the mama bear personality, but I kind of sometimes come across like that in my content because I just want to teach. I'm like, no, don't do that. Do this, So I think about what my tone is when I'm actually writing my post, and it does hopefully come off as authority, expert, as well as an advisor. So there's that thing. So you got to think about what are my tone like? What do I when people think about me, and because you are the brand, we're talking about you right now. What do they want to? What are they going to remember? Maybe you're a compassionate brand, extremely compassionate. Maybe you're an innovative brand. Everything's about innovation and moving them forward and keeping them up, right? So your brand is going to have a voice. So think about that. It's going to be part of your homework tonight to really come up with your unique story, your journey, your the value proposition that we've been talking about, and then your brand voice. Does anyone have any questions about the brand voice and what that is? Nope. Okay. All right. So yesterday we did mention what are your goals and what do we want from LinkedIn? Did everybody write down their goals? Hopefully you did. If you did, just put in the chat, yes, got my goals down. I'd love to know whether or not you were able to get those going. So what do we want from LinkedIn? More clients, more leads, a bigger network, collaboration. All of these things are things that we would really love to get from all the work that we do on LinkedIn. Otherwise, why are we here, right? And so, but before we can actually do any of that, we have to know who we're talking to. You probably have heard if you're a business owner, or even if you've studied any kind of marketing or social media, then you hear the term knowing your avatar, and everybody says you got to know your avatar. You got to know, their age, their gender, where they live, and have all of these things. But I think it goes a little bit beyond that. It's really knowing your client on a personal level, meaning how well do you know their pain? So, I mean, that's great that you've decided on a region. My client lives in New York and they're between the ages of 40 and 60. But how well do you know that pain? And how well do you know what they need? What are they actually asking for? So something about business is one of the lessons that I learned early on is don't try to reinvent the wheel and create something that no one's asking for. You may have a fabulous idea, but if your clients aren't asking for it, it probably won't go very far. So find out what they're actually asking for. So example, Jason, if they really need people quickly, find out, what are the challenges right now? Why aren't they filling these roles? Sometimes it's not because they have poor recruiters inside internal recruiters, but it's because the hiring manager is indecisive or they haven't really defined the role properly. So you have to know what that almost like the pain beyond the pain, right? Like what is the beginning of the pain? And I think Zan, you would know this coming from healthcare and from operations that there's always like this layer, right? We only see the top layer of the pain, but gosh, it goes really deep. so, so if you can know their pain better than they know their pain, you're going to be a awesome marketer. So we talked about this as well yesterday, the broader niche. And I just went ahead and just wrote it out as we're talking about me so that way y'all can kind of put some things together when you're looking at my page or what I do. So the broad niche would be healthcare. My niche is hospitals. My sub niche is leadership. And then my avatar and my client is the hiring manager. So this all is kind of like a flow, right? So if I only speak to healthcare on my content or when I'm out there, I'm reaching the ocean. I'm speaking to nobody. If I talk to hospitals, even then, it's hospitals. There's so many. There's access hospitals, or acute hospitals, or skilled nursing hospitals. And we live in the US, so we have thousands and thousands, beyond thousands of hospitals. So there has to be more to my niche, right? So I go deeper. My sub niche is the leaders within the hospital, and then I go even deeper. Who is my client? Out of all those leaders within the hospital, who's my real client? Because it's not always the CEO. So it's, that hiring manager that really has the pain points and that's feeling overworked. They're at full capacity. They're feeling the deficiencies. They're feeling the turnover and the vacancies. And they're also feeling the responsibility on their shoulders that they must fill these roles. So their primary complaints, I know their primary complaints are urgent. Everything's urgent. And just as Jason mentioned, time to fill. I hope this helps you guys. So write it down, broad niche, sub niche, your actual avatar in that sub niche, the pain points that they feel, and then their primary complaints. I wrote a second one out just to kind of continue this because I actually do have two avatars, right? I am not just working with my clients, but I'm also working with the candidates. So I work with the leaders on both ends of their, I guess, career or seat. So I will help them not only find staff for their team, but I'm also helping them move up to the next level by helping them find their next spot if they're looking to move outside of their current position. So healthcare is the broad niche, recruitment is my niche, my sub niche is the leader, and my client, my avatar is actually the executive looking for a new position. See how I've gone down, again, breaking it all the way down. And my pain points, I recognize my ideal client when I see an executive that's overworked, underappreciated, underpaid, and feels completely unseen. And a lot of times their primary complaints are they've just been laid off late in life. We're talking about folks my age, right? Like in their late 40s, early 50s. And they were thinking, I'm about to retire in 10 years. And now I've just been laid off and I'm supposed to find a whole new career for the next 10 years. How do I do this? Wasn't thinking about this. So that is my client's primary complaint. And that's where I come in. If this is helping you guys, put in chat, yes. Okay. So if this now that you know um who your avatar truly is, again, I know that you will hear from marketers that are going to tell you you need to know what kind of coffee they like to drink. You need to know what kind of car they drive. No, you don't. You need to know their primary complaints and you need to know what it is that they want today. So, let's talk about now when we're actually going to show up for our avatar. What does that look like? Before you can actually attract your audience and your avatar, you're going to have to actually come up with content that speaks directly to them. I like the idea of removing all confusion when I write content or plan for content by doing this one thing. I speak to one person. So I'm not actually speaking to 50, 30, 40 executives. I put this one executive in my mind and I think about the conversation I had with this executive that was just recently laid off. And when I write the post, I'm actually speaking to just that one person. Talk about clarity and how simple your actual content writing will be. It will be so clear because you're only speaking to that one person. It's when we try to speak to everyone that we really lose sight of what we're doing on LinkedIn. So I write down here, we have what's called, you probably have heard this, your content pillars. I actually have what I call content targets. So I have here on the left who I'm actually targeting in my content. Remember, the leader, the consultant, the candidate, they're all the same people, right? But they're really just in separate times in their, it's in a different season. So the healthcare leader may be the one that is my client. The healthcare consultant was a leader, is now consulting. And then my candidate is also the leader who's now looking for work. So these are not necessarily completely different people than my avatar. So if you can kind of see the correlation. Now, the reason why I create this target is so that when I'm creating content, I am also separating my content into topics. And I stick to 3 topics: LinkedIn strategy, which helps them become visible for career and for attracting talent. I teach on consultant growth tips. So you want to be a consultant. Now what? Let's see, how are we going to get you your clients? And then the leadership authority branding. So that authority brand is going to attract those opportunities. And that's the ultimate goal for the leaders who are trying to do something on LinkedIn, right? So I attract the target audience to read the relevant posts that keep them coming back for more. So when you think about people reading your posts on LinkedIn, you may go, well, why didn't, I have 10,000 followers. Why aren't they all reading? The truth is, for me, in my case, and this is going to be the case for Jason as well, is that when you're in recruitment, when you're in the recruitment space, you have 2 buckets of followers. You have your candidates and then you have your clients. And what I find is that those that are only active in this season are going to be actively liking my post or reading or messaging me. And that's totally okay because that is what I want. I want those that are actively seeking to go to that next phase in their career or in their business to reach out to me. So don't get stuck on, oh, well, I have a big audience and not everyone is, engaging. Because believe it or not, they're watching, they're following. And when that time comes, when they get laid off, they come and they message me because they've been watching. And a lot of folks are very quiet when it comes to recruiters. If they're looking for a job, they're not going to be liking my content because they don't want their employer to know they're going to be leaving or they're thinking about leaving or that those pain points are even resonating with them. So I get the DMs and I'm totally okay with it. Let me know if you guys have seen that your content has led to DMs. And you notice that that person that sends you a DM isn't necessarily liking or sharing or engaging on posts, but they sent you a message. Has that happened to any of you on LinkedIn? Drop in the comments. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Not yet, but it will happen. So here are the different types of content. Now, I don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed because these are just ideas for you. So you have the posts that do well are achievements and milestones. People love celebrating people on LinkedIn. And it's great. Like I love celebrating people if they are showing their award or they went somewhere or they were recognized. I love supporting them and showing up in their comments and engaging with them. Also, those that share industry news and insights, because although we're getting thrown a ton of information, if you bring me something about my industry with your opinion or with your own post and you're breaking it down for me and you're like, hey, this is what's happening in the staffing industry. Did you see what Google just said about this or what LinkedIn just said about this? Those are all posts that interest anyone in that industry. Case studies are huge. Success stories, again, people love celebrating this. So have you changed a client's life and now you have a case study or a success story or review you want to share? People will celebrate with you. Educational content and how-to guides, LinkedIn loves this. And they actually prefer so they actually have their favorite content. So if you haven't heard, they love the content that is actually has anything to do with promoting somebody, meaning promoting them into a new job, promoting them into a new business. So anything, because remember when LinkedIn first started, it was to network for new opportunities. So if you're able to write your content around what LinkedIn likes, or what they prefer, then your content should do well. Inspirational quotes. I have found that with inspirational quotes, they're great and all, but they aren't going to bring you business or move anybody into your DMs. So yes, they do well, but really think about, does this inspirational quote, is it just a post filler? Because I kind of sometimes feel like inspirational quotes are post fillers. Like I had to show up today, so I'm going to inspire you. It's Monday. Yay. Motivation Monday. And that's all good. People love the lighthearted stuff and they will like it. That's why the post does well. But it won't necessarily convert somebody to going into your DM and asking you to tell them more about your business. Behind the scenes, people love behind the scenes. I mean, this could be just some camera rolling, watching you, type at your computer, and your post can be about how you're writing your book. I'm writing this book, an expert book, and I'm telling my story. And so the folks love to see behind the scenes. That also is a great way to connect with your audience, is when they can see kind of behind the curtain of who you are. They love that. And then again, articles and newsletters. Newsletters are huge on LinkedIn. And if you have the newsletter option on your LinkedIn, you'll only have it once you reach a certain amount of connections. So if you don't have that available to you, it won't be open to you until you have a certain amount of connections. But the newsletter does really well on LinkedIn. I'm actually planning on launching mine in January, so I'm getting all my content ready. I didn't want to start a newsletter if I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to be consistent with the newsletter. So now that I have enough content, then now I feel that I can actually have a newsletter that's rolling out and we're not missing a beat. So newsletters are great. Not only that, but they do rank on Google. So if you've heard, oh, I was found on LinkedIn, I was found on Google, it's usually through your newsletter. your headlines also come up on LinkedIn, I mean, on Google. In fact, everybody stop right now, go into your Google bar and put your name in. Now, if you have a common name like I do, Claudia Garcia, unless I put Claudia Garcia healthcare, I won't show up. But I mean, I'll show up. If I just put Claudia Garcia, it'll be like, there'll be so many, and it's usually like the movie stars and the famous folks first. And then I'll come up. But if I put Claudia Garcia healthcare or Claudia Garcia staffing, I immediately come up on the first page. So everyone take 1 minute and just put your name in your search bar. If you have a common name, go ahead and put one of your headline keywords, and then tell me if you show up on the Google search. Are you showing up on the Google search? If you're not showing up, it's because you don't have enough content, but you should be showing up. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. All right. It's okay. If you didn't show up, you will show up after we get all of this going. So here are just a few. On the right, you're going to see the post formats that LinkedIn allows us to do. You have your text post, which is just a text and a picture. You have a carousel, which allows you to almost create like a mini book where you're teaching somebody something and they're able to just scroll through and read this mini book. That's a carousel. Polls do really well. LinkedIn allows you to add a poll. This gets people active and speaking back to you and giving you their insight. This is great. If you can get clients to fill out polls, that's awesome. Reposting relevant and really great content with a comment is best. A regular repost doesn't often go too far, but if it is a post with your comment, it's going to be it's going to be pushed out further. And then video. Video is now LinkedIn's thing. They just recently rolled it out. And if you guys have ever seen it at the top, there's going to be a line of videos at the top bar if you're on your cell phone. So you'll see, so you'll see LinkedIn, and then at the top they'll have like where you can scroll through the videos. Right now, if you start doing video on LinkedIn now, you will most likely grow very fast because not everyone's doing video and not everyone wants to do video. A lot of folks actually prefer LinkedIn because you didn't have to do video. I know that's why I love LinkedIn, because I was like, I can't keep up with the reels on Instagram. I love LinkedIn. It's not requiring this of me. And now it is. And I was like, oh, bummer. So, so how many of you are excited about doing videos on LinkedIn? Put it in the comments. No. Carly says no. Oh, and this is possibly. All right. All right. That's good. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I do them on Instagram. I'm just gonna have to repost them. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. So here are the post secrets that I was able to pull up for you guys last night. I said, I want to make sure that my folks have all of the secrets. And here's what LinkedIn says, that the posts that are between 900 and 1200 characters do best. When your sentences are about 12 words long, they do best. Actually perform 20% better than those that have really long sentences or even just super short sentences. A promotional post will actually decrease in impressions. So every post should not be a selling post. But I do want to say this, that if you are promoting a product, whether it's a launch, a workshop, something like that, you have to sell. Nobody is going to know about it, see it, come to it if you don't. So what I would suggest is maybe doing one promotional post, but keep it light. So put the promotion at the bottom. So it's not so much like I'm selling you, but you still want to share that with folks. So yes, it's not going to be your top performer, but you really can't go around, if you're selling something, you can't get around not doing at least one sales post to promote that item. Relevant images boost your reach by 15 to 20% with a relevant postie. We shall see, because I posted a selfie this morning. If y'all saw that, I'm drinking my coffee. Another reason why I loved LinkedIn was because I didn't have to do selfies. And now I'm just like, I read this last night, so I was like, oh, I guess this morning's post is going to have a selfie. So I added one. Funny thing, and I'm going to show you guys actually that post next, but not the one I did today, but another one. I was noticing that the posts that have done best have been the ones with me in the picture. I mean, in the post, like the picture is of me. So LinkedIn is saying, yes, people want pictures of you. They don't want pictures of the skyscraper and the generic things that you're sharing. They want to see you and your face. Of course, we want these to be professional pictures. We don't want them to be blurry. We don't want them to be distorted. We definitely don't want any crowding pictures where your face is just like this. But so there are things that you'll still have to learn. But they are saying, yes, post more pictures of yourself because people love it. Another secret is to always engage 15 minutes before you send out your post. This is hard, and this is actually required for all algorithms. If you're on Instagram, it's the same thing. If you don't engage for 15 minutes before you post on Instagram, your stuff just doesn't get seen. So what they're looking for is if you're active, they reward you. So it's activity and reward, and this is why you want to actually post before. If you're like me, I have my content already planned and already I calendar it, and actually it's saved. So like last night, all I did was add the new picture. I would have to get on before it goes live to start. It becomes this whole game. I don't always follow it, guys, but this is still me telling you that this is how you're going to get more impressions and engagement. When it comes to coming up with your hooks and your posts, if you're not already using ChatGPT to help you out, I highly suggest it, but knowing how to use it is super important so you don't sound robotic and so that the content actually it relates to you and to what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. But these are my favorite prompts, and I'm giving you guys a copy of all my favorite prompts, so don't worry if you can't write it all down. But I like to ask AI to give me a template for a list post. So there are different templates that these influencers use, and that's why you see kind of these common formats where people will have their hook, then they'll have some check marks, and then they'll give another lesson, and then they'll give you their conclusion. And there's a whole structure and framework to these templates. So if you ask AI to give you a template, it will actually give you the influencer's template. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to say, take what I wrote. So you already wrote your post, and then say, put it into this template. So give me a template for the list post structure. The storytelling framework, which is going to be another structure of post. So you ask it, and then it will do it for you. How many of you are already using AI to give you your outline and your structures? Anybody? I know the AI girl is. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I do. I'm giving you guys a peek into my content idea planners. And Carmi is my executive assistant. She's on here. And so we've had a lot of fun doing this type of work because it's kept us organized. And I will actually give you guys a copy of my spreadsheet, not with my stuff on it, but the formatting, so you guys can use it if you would like to, or just take the ideas. But what we do here is we list the typographic that we might be posting with the post. We do a title, we write the hook. And if you notice here, I have my post target and topics. So my consultants, my candidates, and my leaders. Remember we talked about that in the very beginning. I have who I'm targeting. So it's all in my content planning. I don't veer off of that. And then I also include an external link if I'm going to share an external link. Just so you know, LinkedIn doesn't like external links on the actual post because they don't want you taking people off the platform. So anytime you're going to share an external link, you want to do this in the comment section of your post. Does anyone have a content idea planner that you plug into ChatGPT at all? I will give you guys the prompts for this as well. This is the other Excel sheet that we use, and it's a content distribution strategy. So we have our ideas, and then we actually take the ideas, and then we refine what we're doing, and then we put what day it's going to go live, and then again, what we're covering. This is really cool. If you look here, consulting growth, leadership authority, LinkedIn strategy, those are my three, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm making sure that I'm rotating those three topics that I follow. That's kind of hidden on the right is that my actual post is there. So the actual Google post, because I have them on in a Google folder, I actually can pull up my post and look at it, read it, see which one I want to. Recycling content is so important. You can take that same post that you already wrote and just put it in a different format. So you're not necessarily changing anything other than your format. So you went from a story format to a list format. So those are kind of some tricks to keep your content distribution where you're not always having to come up with new, fresh ideas. So these are the idea prompts and how I actually came up with the spreadsheet. And so I asked ChatGPT, give me 30 days of LinkedIn post ideas. First column, give me the topic based off of my three topics: LinkedIn strategy, leadership, authority, and the consultant tips. Second column, I say, give me a hook. In the third column, give me a second hook. In the fourth column, give me the post outline. And then in the fifth column, tell me who this post is for. Is it for my consultant? Is it for my candidate? Or is it for my leader? Now, notice what I do is I ask for the post outline because I like to write my post. A lot of times people will use ChatGPT, and everyone knows ChatGPT spits out the same thing over and over, same words. And of course, you're still going to sound the same in your post because you're writing the same information over and over. And that's okay. And that's okay because actually you're building authority. Remember that the more that you write on one topic, the more that people are going to connect that with you. So if you were constantly writing about, staffing shortages and how you solve that, then when they think of Jason, they are going to go, oh, that's the guy who fixes the shortages and staff and is going to get me some people quick, because they've seen your post over and over. So if you notice, a lot of people will just post the same information over and over, and that's okay. First of all, not everybody sees it. So don't ever worry about repeating yourself. Not everyone sees it. And as long as you're creative in the way that you present it, you're fine. I know a lot of people get, I sound like a broken record. You need to sound like a broken record. That's the goal. So once you have all of these posts, what you want to do is you want to analyze for success. Right now, I actually have, I've been doing 30 days, 30 days, Monday through Friday. I don't post on Saturdays and Sundays. So I do see a dip in impressions, literally drop on Friday, and then they come back up on Monday. But the reason why I've committed to the 5 days is because I wanted to have enough content out there to actually analyze to see what works. So I'm okay with content that isn't hitting right now, because the goal is to get as much out as possible, my different styles of writing, my different types of templates, whether that's a text, just a text only, whether it's a selfie, whether it's a promotion, whether I am sharing a story. I have to actually have content out there long enough for me to analyze what actually works. So what you're looking for is your engagement, likes, reposts, and impressions. Don't worry about how many likes you get. You just want to see that there is engagement and growth. One of the things about LinkedIn is that you will have more people viewing than actually doing anything with it. First of all, in my case, my target audience is actually working. So they are not going to show their bosses that they're liking all your posts, and they're probably not going to be commenting. But you just want to see some growth. You want to see that LinkedIn is actually pushing your stuff out. I know that, Zan, one of your posts is like taking off. I think you had like 64 likes or something crazy like that.
Oh, is it my military? I don't know.
It may
There's
be,
certain
yeah.
there's certain ones, like you said, when I put a picture of myself versus just random, it gets a lot more likes.
Yeah. That's
Is it?
really,
I noticed that weird.
yeah. And another thing, it's a celebration post. People love that. Yeah. I would take advantage of the celebration post with a call to action, just so, because those get so many views. Maybe at the bottom, put a call to action.
Okay.
So if you're wondering where your analytics are, if you look at the very bottom right of your post, you'll see where it says view analytics. You're going to click into that link there, and then you'll be able to see how many impressions it has. Now, this is a 7-day, I think. So look at the top to see what your dates are, so you don't get discouraged. Your impressions are going to drop on your post the older the posts are. So don't, if you're looking at a really, really old post and you're looking at the impressions for today, and you posted it 6 months ago, you're gonna be like, nobody saw it. No, they did see it, but they saw it back then. So try to look at your recent analytics and always do your reporting. I like to do 2 weeks. So I like to look at 2 weeks, how it's doing, because 2 weeks, it's still floating up there, floating around. People are still liking it. LinkedIn is still pushing it out. And if you look here, once you click onto it, you'll see the impressions, the members reached, reactions, and comments. Now, what to look for, and what am I looking for, right? I'm looking for the views, the post views, and then I actually look at who's viewed. So if you keep dropping down on that analytic page, you're going to actually get to see everyone that looked at your post. So you'll see that your target audience is looking. If you have viewers that are not your target audience, you are doing something wrong. Your content is not written for the right people. You may have a lot of connections with folks that what you're doing is completely irrelevant. So you can always clean that stuff up. I know for me, I've been recruiting, and I mentioned on the platform 10 years, probably active 5 years. There may be people that I recruited in IT 5 years ago. They're not interested in my healthcare stuff, right? So there's a few things you could do. I wouldn't suggest it unless you're over 10,000 followers or connections, that you go back and you kind of clean up your connections so that your audience is all relevant. If you're still growing, don't do that. Don't start taking people, removing people off. Just keep going. And then once you get to about 10,000, you can go and you can start cleaning up your connections. I also like to look at the new followers, the type of followers. Tomorrow, we're going into our lead generation. So we're going to talk about actual connections, how we connect, how we speak with them, how we find them, how we track the followers, and making sure that they're the right target folks. But this is all something that I look at when analyzing my content. All right, so I think we're actually on time. So we have 6 minutes. And then, so right now, I would like you guys just to write your homework down or take a picture of it. I'll also send it to you guys, but I want you guys to use AI to create your 30-day idea spreadsheet. And then I want you to use AI to create your post templates. Ask it to create 3 post templates. And what a lot of people that you may like to read their content, ask AI to give you their templates. And so you're going to put their name in, and then you're going to say, please give me, so-and-so's LinkedIn template. Now they have to be big enough to where AI will actually recognize them and pick them up. So this is your homework for tonight. When you guys should be ready for 2025, when you have all your ideas and your templates. I mean, there's gonna be no excuse for y'all not to post. I'm gonna be looking at your LinkedIn and going, "Hey, where's your post? I know you have some great ideas." All right. So any questions? I'll go ahead and open up the floor to you guys. Anybody have any questions? No, y'all content pros. All right.
No, this is very helpful. Very, very helpful.
Good, 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 good. Yeah, I don't want anyone stressing out in 2025. We're gonna have your plan written. And the truth is I know for me it was very hard, and Carmi can attest to this, it's very hard to have any marketing help when you don't have that clarity. And actually, just so you guys know, clarity comes with doing. So don't worry about being perfect in the beginning, especially because people don't always see the stuff in the beginning. So really take advantage of that, right? Do your videos and your posts and don't worry about what people might say, because that is how you're gonna find your clarity in your content. Well, I hope that was helpful. If you guys don't have any questions, that is a wrap. I have some homework for you guys. I'm going to send it out shortly. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. I am going to ask for you guys to share your idea template so that we can get excited with you guys. It doesn't have to be long, just whatever you came up with. This is just the beginning of all the good stuff that's going to take place for you in 2025 on LinkedIn. So thank you for a wonderful day 2. I appreciate you guys for showing up and doing the
Thank you,
homework.
Claudia.
Thank
Everybody have a great
you.
day. Bye.
Bye.
Good day.
Thank you.